Hi guys, Casper MMA here, and today we're back with another UFC predictions video on the channel. Today I'm giving my predictions for UFC Fight Night, Walker versus Zhang. Now, last week was a UFC 319, which was quite a decent card overall, to be fair, up until the main event obviously wasn't the best. But on prediction wise, we did very well. The only predictions we got wrong were literally Chase Hooper and Kaya Sakura. The rest of it, we were clean sweep, and if you follow my tips correctly, you should have won some money, because I predicted Khamzat versus DDP completely correctly. Told you to bet the house on the Rowan Murphy. He got the job done. Everyone was doubting me and that. So yeah, here we go. I am good at predicting fights. But we're back this week with the Chinese card, and it looks pretty good. There's some good fights, so I'm looking forward to giving my prediction for it. But before I do that, make sure you guys are new around here and you're enjoying this content, you go down below and hit that subscribe button. It's free and it's really appreciated. So on this card, there is a total of 12 fights, and we kick things off with the first prelim of Nurgozhay versus Satybaldiev. Now, probably going to butcher a lot of these names, a lot Chinese names, stuff that I have no idea how to pronounce. But we start off with Nurgozhay, 10-1, Kazakhstan man, 28 years old, was undefeated before he fought on the in the UFC, because he was fought on the Contender Series, got a KO over some Polish guy, I think. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, and then came to the UFC, got subbed by Brenson Ribeiro. Pretty sure I backed Nurgozhay to win that fight because he was a big favourite, but he got floor checked, as you'd say. Got submitted. On the other hand, we have Satybaldiev, who was also undefeated before he came to the UFC. Fought in Martin Badai in his last fight. Who was he looked good, looked better than Badai did, but Badai did his boring. People were complaining that Badai got cut from the UFC. Obviously, yes, he's a good fighter, but then the same people would complain that watching him, he's the most boring fighter in the world. So Badai did his usual hugging tactics and that, made it a boring fight, and then got the decision. So both these guys have lost the first fight in the UFC, so still got probably quite a lot to offer, both of them. But I'm going to back Satybaldiev to get this job done. I mean, just the fact that Nurgozhay got submitted in his last fight. Satybaldiev has a few submission wins before, so I'm going to back Satybaldiev to get the submission. And now we're moving up the card to Xiao versus Su Yung Yu. Now, Xiao is the Chinese man, 27-9 record, only 27 years old. He's currently 1-1 in the UFC. Lost his first fight to Ho Li by split decision, then beat Quang Li in his last fight by KO, which I didn't expect. I thought Quang Li would get the job done, but he KO'd him, managed to get the job done. But apart from that, he's got a lot of wins, to be fair, in different promotions and stuff. Has lost a couple times to he fought on the Contender Series back in 2021, lost to a decision there. So he's not the worst fighter, coming off a good win as well. Su Yung Yu, on the other hand, is a Korean man, 15-3 record, 29 years old. He's pretty good. I mean, he's 2-0 in the UFC so far, 2 decision wins. He's currently on a 4-fight winning streak as well, all wins by decision. Has lost a couple of times as well, but not for quite a while. His last loss was KO back in 2023, but since then he's looked good. I do like him. He's looked good in his last 2 fights, and I honestly think he's going to get the job done here as well. So I'm going to back you to get the decision. And now we move the card again to Yizha versus Weston Wilson. Now, Yizha is another Chinese man, 25-5 record. I noticed a lot of these Chinese guys on these on this UFC card have loads of fights. They must just fight a lot at regional level and stuff. But yeah, it's since he's come to the UFC. I mean, his second stint in the UFC, because I don't know what his record is, because he's been the road to the UFC twice, been in the UFC twice, and he's currently 0-2. He's fought Yong Lee, lost by split decision, then lost his last fight in the UFC last year by decision to Gabriel Santos. So around that though, he looks pretty good. I mean, he's got quite a few finishes outside of the UFC, and yeah, he's had a lot of fights. I mean, he's 14 wins in total by submission in his career, 5 wins by KO, so he's quite good. Just the level of opponents you've got to wonder who's fighting. Weston Wilson, on the other hand, is 36 years old, 17-9 record. He's been around a bit. He's currently in the UFC. He's 1-2. Lost 2 fights in a row, both by round 1 KO, and then did win his last fight by submission to Sergei. So he's coming off a win, but wasn't looking too good against the high level opponents like Gene Silver and Brito. So yeah, he's all right, but I don't know. I just feel like he's quite old now. And also, I think Yizha isn't too bad, so I'm going to back Yizha to get the job done, and I reckon he can get the finish here. I'm going to back Yizha to get the submission. Now, up the card, we go to Michel Pereira versus Kyle Daukaus. Now, Pereira is the Brazilian man, 31 and 13 now, 31 years old. Wasn't a pretty good run, to be fair, in the UFC. Was looking really good at one point. Got like 3 round 1 finishes in a row over like Petrosky, Olizashuk, Pereira. Then hit Anthony Hernandez, who was a brick wall for him because Anthony Hernandez is pretty good. Got KO'd in round number 5 in that fight, got dominated. Then lost the decision to Abus Magomedov in his most recent fight this year. So his run has come to an end. He's on a 2-fight losing streak at the minute. But Kyle Daukaus, on the other hand, is 15 and 4 American man. Has been out of the UFC for a little bit now since 2022. Lost twice in a row by KO. Then got cut and then went to CFC, where he's been doing all right. He's been undefeated since leaving. He was on, I think, 4-fight winning streak at the minute. So and all 3 of them wins have come by finish as well. So he's looked good since he left the UFC. But obviously, you can't really compare the level of opponents. So he's back against Pereira, but I feel like this is a matchup Pereira can win. I mean, he's fought to like pretty decent opponents, to be fair. I know Magomedov has its ups and downs, but he's not a bad fighter, and neither is Hernandez. So I reckon Pereira is going to get this job done against Daukaus, and I reckon Pereira wins by decision. Now, moving up the card again to Rongzhu versus Austin Hubbard. Now, Rongzhu is another Chinese man, 26 and 6 record, 25 years old. He's all right. He's won his last fight by decision against Cody Steele. Did lose by doctor stoppage before that to Padilla, but before that in the road to UFC, he looked good. I mean, he had 2 finishes and a decision win, and he was in the UFC back in 2021. Lost twice, lost to Bahamondes. Did beat Jenkins by KO, but lost a decision as well to Vargas. So I mean, he's got a lot of finishes outside the UFC. Same thing as Yizha, who we were just talking about. This guy has got 14 wins by KO, 7 wins by submission. I mean, he is quite good. Obviously, has lost a couple of times to the good opponents in the UFC. But I do think he's an alright fighter, is Rongzhu. Austin Hubbard, on the other hand, is a 16 and 9 American man, 33 years old. Not had the greatest run in the UFC of all time. I mean, overall, he's 4 wins and 7 losses in the UFC. He was in the UFC ages ago, back in 2021. Got cut, and then was on the different Ultimate Fighter and stuff. And then since then, he's came back to the UFC, lost 3 in a row, and then won 1 by decision to Figlak. So I just don't think he's going to be able to win this. I mean, he's not the worst fighter in the world, but he's not very good. So I'm going to back Rongzhu to get the decision. Now, moving up the card to Lona Kavanagh versus Charles Johnson. Now, Kavanagh, probably one of my favourite fighters at the minute, one of my favourite prospects at the minute, the English and Chinese man, 9 and 0 currently. I mean, he just looks good. I mean, if you watched him on the Contender series, that KO was awesome, really fast. And then since then, he's beat Kocha and Dos Santos, 2 pretty decent opponents in a row, won both of them by decision. So he looks good, undefeated prospect in the UFC. I do like him. Charles Johnson, on the other hand, is 17 and 7 American man, 34 years old. He's currently he lost his last fight to Tamirov, but he was on a pretty good run. 4-fight winning streak, a bit like Mudaerji, Joshua Van. That was a good KO. Probably looking back at it, very fluky win, but yeah, still got the win. Beat Jake Hadley before that and Maxim. So he's a decent fighter, but Kavanagh, I feel like there is a chance Johnson wins. I can see him getting the decision win here, but I'm backing Kavanagh to get this job done. I feel like, he's just the up-and-coming prospect. He looks good, and I'm backing Kavanagh to get the decision. Now, moving up the card, we have Maheshta Hayisaer versus Gage Young. Now, that is an absolute mouthful of a name to pronounce. Maheshta Hayisaer, probably pronounced it completely wrong, but he's a Chinese man, 10 and 4 in total. Currently, he won on the Contender Series back in 2021, and then since then, he got a good win over Steve Garcia, KO'd him, and then since then, Steve Garcia's went on to win however many in a row, looking really good. But apart from that win, he's been KO'd by Borjas, lost 2 decisions, then won a split decision in the UFC. So he's currently 2 and 3 in total. So he's not been on the greatest run, but I suppose he's not the worst person in the UFC. He's got a few wins. On the other hand, we have Gage Young. He's 9-3. American man, 25 years old. Did lose on the contender series to Sal Killed, and but then got a win on a different promotion. Got a KO. Then came into the UFC. Lost a decision to Evan Elder. But around that, outside the UFC, he's got a lot of KOs. Looks pretty good. And this fight could honestly go either way. Both these guys aren't very good, really, are they? Both lost in the UFC. So I'm just going to back Young to get this job done. Might get the finish, but I'm going to back Young by decision. Now we're moving up to the main card where we have Taiyilake Nueraji versus Kiefer Crosbie. Now, another mouthful of a name of this Chinese man, Taiyilake Nueraji. No idea how you pronounce that, but his record is 11-1. Looks pretty good. Only 24 years old as well, and all of his wins have come by finish. I mean, he has been KO'd by a body kick before, back in 2021, but around that, literally all round 1 or round 2 KOs. He's got one submission win as well in there, and he looks pretty good. I mean, there's not much else to say. He's just a monster in there. He's been KOing everybody, and he's made his way to the UFC. And his opponent, Kiefer Crosbie, is a 10-5 Irishman, 35 years old now, so 11 years older. Is on a 2-fight losing streak. Both losses come by round 1 submission. And then he's currently not won in the UFC. I mean, he was in Bellator for a bit. Was doing not too bad, 4-3 in Bellator, but since he came to the UFC, not looked the best. And I feel like Nueraji is going to come out here in China and he's going to blitz him, and Nueraji is going to win by KO. And now we move up the card to Mudaerji versus Kevin Borjas. Now, Mudaerji is a 17-7 Chinese man, 29 years old. Hasn't had the best time in the UFC. Got to say, he's 4 wins, 4 losses. Has lost to some decent opponents like Tim Elliott, who just seen beat Kaya Sakura. Lost to Charles Johnson by decision. Lost to Matt Schnell by submission. I mean, that loss to Charles Johnson is only lost in his career that hasn't lost by submission, because this guy cannot defend a submission apparently. I mean, he's lost 6 times by submission in his career and lost once by decision. But he does have quite a lot of KO wins and a few decision wins in his career. Won his last fight against Mitch Raposo by split decision. And he is not a bad fighter. Has won a few fights in the UFC around his losses. But he just gets submitted quite a lot. Kevin Borjas, on the other hand, is a Peruvian man, 10-3 record, 27 years old, so similar age. Is on a 1-fight winning streak. Did beat Ronaldo Rodriguez in his last fight by decision, which is quite impressive to be fair. Ronaldo Rodriguez isn't a bad opponent, but before that he did lose 2 fights in a row. Got KO'd by Costa and lost to Joshua Van by decision. But this guy is alright. He's got also got quite a few wins by KO in his career. He's got 8 wins by KO, 2 wins by decision. But this is another fight I think could go either way. I reckon one of them is going to win a decision here. It could be Borjas, because he's coming off a decision win, and so is Mudaerji. But I'm going to back Mudaerji in China to get this job done, and I reckon he gets the decision. Now, moving up to a heavyweight match now. Sergei Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Now, this is quite a big fight at heavyweight. Both these guys quite high ranked in the top 10. Pavlovich, 19-3 record, 33 years old. Was one of the scariest guys in the division, in the whole heavyweights. Before he fought Tom Aspinall, this was round 1 KOing everybody. And then outside the UFC, he's got so many wins by KO, it's unreal. But then got KO'd by Tom Aspinall, of course, and then lost to Volkov, which was after Tom Aspinall, everyone was like, okay, he might not be that good, but Tom Aspinall's really good. And then he fought Volkov, and everyone was like, whoa, the hype train was completely lost, and Volkov schooled him. And then came back, beat Rosenstruik, but Rosenstruik literally got cut after the fight because he threw about 5 punches. It was a pretty boring fight. So kind of lost all his aura, Pavlovich, since his last 2 losses, but did win his last fight. Crotes-Acosta, on the other hand, Dominican Republic man, 14-1. Isn't the best of fighters, but honestly, he's for a heavyweight, he's quite good, to be fair. He's not he's not the most entertaining either, but did beat Rebellas to Spain, killed his hype train, did KO'd Ryan Spann, beat Spivak in his last fight. His only loss in his career came to Rodrigo de Lima in the UFC. But around that, he's decent. I mean, he wins most of his fights by decision. Got a few KOs, and honestly, this fight, I'm not expecting it to be entertaining that much. Honestly, both these guys, it's probably going to go to decision. Let's be real. I would like to see Pavlovich get a KO, regain some of his height back, but realistically, we're probably going to see a Cortes-Acosta win by decision. Now, moving up now to the co-main event. Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. Now, pretty good fight. This could honestly be like the headliner, but I suppose it's in China, so they've got to have Mingyang Zhang. But Brian Ortega, 16-4 American man, is coming off a loss against Diego Lopez in that last fight. I mean, he should have been KO'd. I'm pretty sure he was out, and then Lopez woke him up with that second punch. But he hasn't fought since then. That was like last year. Pretty sure that, yeah, it was like literally nearly a year ago now. He's took some time off, and but he did beat Rodriguez before that, which is quite impressive to be fair. I think Rodriguez just looked shocking in that fight, and a lot of people were picking him to win. And honestly, he doesn't fight that regularly, does Ortega. He's only fought 4 times in the last 4 years, so it's like once a year he fights. Aljamain Sterling, on the other hand, he's a 24-5 American man. Has been doing all right in the light featherweight division since he moved up. Beat Qatar, then lost to Evloev, but that was an entertaining fight. Both guys just really good grapplers. I wasn't expecting it to be entertaining, but it was actually quite good. And that was back in last year, again, like nearly a year ago. But obviously, I still think Aljamain has got it. He's still quite good. That like Evloev loss isn't bad because Evloev is a really good fighter. So I reckon Aljamain Sterling's going to win this one. I just feel like he's going to out-grapple Ortega in this fight, and Sterling wins by decision. And now, moving up to the main event, Johnny Walker versus Mingyang Zhang. Now, this wouldn't take me long. We've got Johnny Walker. He's, what do we even say about him? He just gets KO'd every time. I mean, KO'd by, I thought he'd actually beat Ozdemir in his last fight. Got goofily KO'd again, flatlined. Got KO'd by Ankalaev before that, flatlined. Jamal Hill, and then Mingyang Zhang, the KO artist from China. Literally, I'm pretty sure that I think every single one of his finishes has been around. Every single one of his wins has been around one finish. So they have literally set this up to build hype around Mingyang Zhang in China. Who's the perfect opponent? Johnny Walker. He gets KO'd every time. So Mingyang Zhang wins by round 1 KO. So there are my picks for this week's UFC Fight Night. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. And that's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, remember you leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.